whatnot. So you're one of the, you are, oh well, yeah, you're not anymore the DT team captain. So right now you were one of the best performing team captains in history of Conqueror's Blade. But Susno also was before you guys showed up. So how do you look at like the ENDGEGNER dynasty they had when they were already strong?
I would say that they were very strong at the time, but I would say comparatively there weren't any other really good teams at the time. Towards the end, like their sort of last win, that was obviously when Pleb started coming in, when they beat us, and they had some still like good consistency there. But then after that, they kind of disappeared off the face of the planet.
Right.
When we had all the other teams coming in. So I'd say at the time when they were strong, but comparatively other teams weren't as strong.
Right.
Whereas
Well,
I would say Plebs were playing with some of the best teams this game's seen.
Yeah, makes sense, absolutely. All right, so we're gonna find out if Susno and Chimera can get ENDGEGNER back to the same level again, or maybe even better, because all teams have been improving. So
yeah, they definitely got some good players in there. They've had some good pickups. So can they get back to the sort of level and consistency they were at before?
Exactly. All right, so here we are once again. So counting Zicalian, only counting one so far, but definitely more expected. So let's check out hero class. Is actually quite light on the ape side. Getting 3, still counting.
Come on. 4, actually, come on. One more, come on.
Equal balls. There we go. We got a 4th. I'm counting 3 on the attack side as well. Also javelin.
I think it's only going to be 4, but yeah, there are 2 jabs out at the start.
We also got 1 longbow.
Looks like you were right with the 4 Cocos.
Thank you, much appreciated. Right, so it's XCOM, someone else, Susno, I think it's Chimera actually. Oh, Chimera as well.
The only thing that I would say I don't like here about EG's setup is it's very triple tier 4 heavy.
Yeah, absolutely. And also even like Susno and Chimera having the Zicalian and Alchemist as well. Like,
yeah, but it's like, couldn't they just go, double tier 5 and a tier 4? Do they not have the leadership for that?
Yep.
Or could they not run a tier 5, a tier 4, and a tier 3?
It's almost like
they've got to have some options that are better than just running what they're running.
It's almost like they're trying to fight 4 fights within this game.
This is where I feel Susno is weak at the moment, is that he's just not there with the meta in tournaments how it is now. Their setup feels very CBL format, which is obviously what they last sort of played in properly. It feels like they're not reacting and progressing as well as other captains and as other teams. Because it was a hell of a lot of triple tier 4, which when you have people running like 780 leadership pluses, which is what most players have right now, you should be able to run much better setups than that, right?
Absolutely. Well, we'll see. Maybe hopefully they can make it work. So we're gonna find out again. Gonna spot out where they're gonna go and if they are gonna destroy the B artillery first.
Well, it looks like they're going to do some kind of defense on A and B at least, because they've got all the units here still, so they're not running back to the back like other teams have done.
Yep, even bring them up the wall as well, so that's a good start.
They should win this siege war on B now, because they've killed both Corbins already, so they need to kill the Scorpio now as well.
All arty still standing, and not seeing any trap flying in yet. Alright, so let's take a look here. So, camels for the Roger sitting at the gate as expected. Javelins actually as well, but they're waiting downstairs, so apparently they don't want to necessarily destroy any towers with it.
I think this is really just going to come down to who can use their cav the best, right? Because you've got some golden cav for the side of Apes, but you have just heavy dagger axes for EG. So if Apes can get some good clears with their hussars that they got and the katas, can potentially do a lot of work there. And again, it's just their shield mains. They've got like 5 or 6 units of shield mains, which can have a big impact on this game.
And actually something funny here, Scotch is trying to destroy this Gulfrun that's still sitting there on the middle tower. So still alive.
They still haven't cleared that Scorpio though.
Yeah.
Which I think they were aiming for, but then the tower got in the way.
The tower really low.
So they might still be able to do one more shot.
Yeah,
there. You can see that they are playing it smart. They had one guy on his Susno has actually been quite smart. They sat on his horse in front of it, so that the longbow couldn't shoot the Colvin. He was shooting the horse instead. So really smart play there. They actually got close to killing the tower on B, but they didn't quite finish it because they
might be in trouble here. Where is he? Right, so aggressive pusher from the muskets from Susno. I know that ENDGEGNER was definitely looking for muskets, but they're dropping though.
Yeah,
ooh, those shield maidens.
They didn't commit quick enough because they still had a maul and a longsword at the top watching. If they'd gone in all together, they could have maybe done something. Instead, they just ended up dying for free.
Alright, they're doing what No Beaches has taught
time.
everyone, which is put an Imperial Spear Guard unit in there. Do not get trapped, although it may get trapped if it's too far
The
forward.
Mauls pushed it back a little bit though.
Yep.
Palace Guards might get caught.
Alright, looks fine, looks fine.
And again, like the choice of Palace Guards here is also a question mark for me. I know they did get buffed recently, so I haven't seen personally how good they are, but you would have thought, they, especially because they're running heavy triple tier 4 on most of these players, surely they can run a better unit than
Yep, absolutely. Meanwhile, Ki, Gruen and Wuxtalik are fighting their one Imperial Spear Guard against these Myrmidons. These Mauls really need to do work if they want to get through anything here. Another trap.
Yeah, these Imps are going to hold a lot, but this Treb is going to be huge. If they don't push forwards, this Treb's going to completely wipe them.
Miss, hit. So close.
Yeah,
Right.
another miss there actually, so it wasn't too bad, but these last two might do some work.
This one should. Anyone should hit actually, but...
But that longsword is going to be healing them up, so I don't know if they've lost
Yep,
a massive amount. You can see he's already got a Movable as a Mountain achievement, which means he's tanked a lot of damage.
They're actually... Alright, so they have lost in the end, I think, both units, so the Imperial Spear Guards and the Myrmidons, and for only one Imperial Spear Guards on Apes. This is kind of a messy and weird fight right now. Apes slowly gaining some ground.
They are getting very unlucky with these Trebs, I would admit.
Yep,
So a lot of them are
except for this one, yeah. Call it.
But they are holding quite well here. But now they're backing off, so these units on the front are getting sold a bit here. You see a lot of the units are retreating.
This is
Two
a location
Mercs coming
for
in now,
Zicali Militia. Where are the Zicali Militia right now? This is where you need them.
Yeah, this could be a huge clear for these Merms if they get in well enough here from the side. They've got a nice flank there, but...
Uncooked Bananas only just now bring up a Zicali Militia. This is too late, I think.
Well, they didn't have any out from the start, that's the thing. So
Here we
they
go,
had
yep, here we
those
go,
four
but these
units
are gonna get
having
killed.
out the back.
Yeah.
So now he's going to lose them for free. But it's fine because they have another one.
Yep, exactly. Another 3 actually, it's triple. But yeah, really weird fight there from ENDGEGNER, I think. I mean, the base, like the front line was good, but the Zicali Militia was just not there for the DPS.
And just the unit trade overall, they were just pretty awful. If you looked at it before going into that, they had about 200 lead of tier 4s. Now they're even on tier 4 units. Whilst they are ahead with units at the moment, they have a lot more serfs.
Yep.
Than the attackers. The attackers have almost no serfs, and they have 300 serfs.
Exactly,
So,
and also the attackers have 200 more T5, so it's
yeah, exactly. So it's not looking the best here right now. But again, we have seen teams defend on this base point. It's going to depend on how aggressive they can be, what usage they get out of their Cocos now. Could make a lot of difference here.
Exactly right. Alright, so let's see how Apes approach this one. So they are probably going to take the time to capture B and the supply as well, at least I would expect so. Unless they really want to rush it. Let's see. So again, Palace Guard are out. Also the stalwarts for ENDGEGNER, for Braccio backing them up. So kind of the same setup. Susno with the Alchemist. I don't think Alchemists are going to be that good because we got so many bans in the exotics, right? Like.
Yeah, I mean they
the
can be
heals are
useful
strong,
for
of
sustaining
course.
on the point.
Yeah.
Especially if they've got the muskets that they had, throwing bombs and things down, but they don't really have any range heroes, did they, for the attackers? So that's not gonna. I don't think gonna have the best usage. But again, if they can throw the smoke in when the enemy's charging in, if they got that heal there for that first push, that could help them to win the first fight.
For sure. And especially if the Apes, for example, get the supply point in the back, and then that's at least one way to still keep healing. But again, not that much poke, so you need to heal during the fight, and that's just really hard. And then you may actually want that other, like Fort Watcher, right, or Camel, or Shieldman, or Cav, or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, for me it just feels like EG is just they're very slow. They're very just like you saw at the start. Those Cocos didn't get to that fight until the fight was already over. They'd be fighting there for like 2 minutes at that point. You know, just very. It feels very just relaxed and not very controlled.
Alright, so let's focus on Apes right now because I like what they're doing. So they're going to the back straight away. Most teams have been going to the front or the side first, but Apes deciding to go for the.
This is good. It's going to depend on what these Cocos can do again, because
exactly.
the one thing the defenders do have the advantage of here is if they put units in spawn, they can't be killed, so they can have unkillable Cocos in there. So they're getting a decent. So I mean, they're just getting baited out of position now. Apes going to try and rotate back to point fast enough to try and get control of the point now. You see EG's massively over rotating here. Like all these heroes still sat in this tunnel, still trying to run to the base when Apes are already rotating back to point. So they could get a decent position here.
Actually, ENDGEGNER only getting the one shield unit, but let's focus on the fight that's going to go on here. Trap is going to fly in. I think ENDGEGNER quick enough to at least get on the point. Lots of shield maidens here.
But they have actually, you still see there's a lot of EG still sat in base. You know, they've still got 4 heroes behind the point. So if Apes can push in hard enough and start wiping this point, they could potentially get control here. EG having Cocos and Longbows up on top, 3 heroes on base point still. They've got a second unit of Longbows coming in. So right now for EG they have 2 Cocos and 2 Longbows.
Yep.
And jabs, I think so. And 2 sets of jabs. So it's just really weak front line here for EG. It's where the Apes can punish on that. But at the moment, it doesn't look like they are. It looks like EG are holding.
Yeah, they're really pushing back. I mean, Susno and Chimera both with the Zakali this time really doing work. And 2 units of Longbow is insane. But yes, they are doing work. So solid defense actually on this fight.
Yeah, really disappointing performance from Apes there. You know, they had a big advantage there. There was about 6 EG not even in the fight because they were rotating range on the wall. They were still in base, and Apes couldn't punish that. Exactly. Which was surprising considering they have the tier 5 advantage. Yep. Maybe if they'd had a cav coming through at the same time they could have done something, but they are going to come back with that now, so exactly. Can they get control of this push now?
Yeah, they're trying to punish them in the gate, it looks like.
Yeah, if they punish these 40s, there's not really any anti-cav left for the defenders, so if they can clear this here, and again, this is what the mistake I was talking about with a lot of teams, they will have the anti-cav at the front. These are getting picked off for no reason now. Let's look at their setup. They have 1 more 40 on base right now, but if Apes just pushed in, like, why are they retreating back here? If they pushed in and got control there, they could have just held that front row.
Yep, exactly.
Just look at how many units are behind the point. Yeah. And instead they decide to retreat back off and regroup again.
Yeah, just
they've got time for it, so it could go fine.
Yeah, absolutely, but still.
I think they're just trying to play super safe, because you look at, they're probably looking at the units thinking, we are 200 units down, we've got to be careful. What they don't realise is 250 of those units are serfs.
Yep, absolutely.
So they don't know this, so they're just playing super safe. They're like, right, we've got a pick, let's reset, let them reset in position again, we'll try and get another pick. They're trying to play it super careful.
Yep.
Which is not a bad call from them, because obviously they don't know the units that EG have.
So. Yeah. And so, yeah, so Apes definitely looked a bit messy there. I mean, it was very chaotic, and they were aggressive to go for that supply at the back, but then pulled back, lost a couple of units, and just didn't recover really from that.
Yeah, I think the mistake they made again is what we were talking about earlier. So when teams are rotating, they're just going, okay, let's all rotate, and they don't think about the fact that they've got some units that are a lot slower than others. So you saw in that fight, their imp shields were the last units of that fight, when you need those to go in first.
Alright, and I think that ENDGEGNER's got a problem now, because, Longbow's retreating, and Van Amia's going to pick them up for sure. We also got Susno's Zakali militia here just chilling, so 3 kills there for Apes, and these are going to be really big because
by Apes there.
Yeah, because ENDGEGNER's
and this is where they can afford to be aggressive, right? They've got the time, so why not? And they're also capping base at the same time.
Yep, they're doing really well right now. It's only 3 heroes that are pushing those units, so that's free space for Apes right now. And ENDGEGNER is really relying on those long range units, so it's going to cost them.
So if you look at what Apes are doing here, right? They've sent all their units back to their base respawn, so they were going for an int push here to kill the specials because they saw the enemy had like 7 units of range.
Absolutely.
So they've all to his own for this. Funnily enough, I think if they'd actually gone in with units, they probably could have won that right there, because they killed so many ranged units and picked off a lot, and were starting to get control of the point where they were just heroes.
Yep. Again, no loss to Apes though, because it's only the hero kills, but still could have.
And they're picking up a lot of units here.
Yep.
So still killing these longbows at the top here, just finishing that off, then they'll regroup and they'll start pushing the front again. But that was a good pick off by them. Did they kill enough?
Yeah.
Still, they got the Cocos, they got a longbow, so it's useful, but then at the same time, those longbows aren't really doing much. If they now swap to cav and wipe you, would it be better to leave them on longbows? You know, picking the Cocos is great though, 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so that's kind of the other thing. Like, how much are you baiting the enemy into better units? Is now the question for Apes, I think.
And do they have these 40s now punished? Apes have some random 40s going into the enemy spawn here, which I feel they're going to get picked off now.
No. Looks like they don't want to.
Oh yeah, they got scared and backed off. I feel like they could have easily committed that. They had 5-6 heroes there, and there's 2 heroes from Apes. So that was a bit of a mistake there from EG, but
so again,
I guess they were just trying to play a bit safe themselves.
Absolutely. So Apes definitely grouping well, and at least already going for some aggressive fights. That's good. Alright, so they're grouping again at the front gate, and again getting a lot of room here when ENDGEGNER is still trying to get the units on point.
Yeah, I'd say the big thing is Apes are being very proactive. EG are just being reactive. Like you even see here, all these 40s just sat here watching. The enemy's pushing in. They're just they're just sat here waiting.
Here comes the
they're
cav as well.
Really grouping very well. Some good cav coming through from both sides. But this melee fight at the front is just pretty dead.
Ooh, that was a bit clean though.
Cav there. This next cav's gonna be very punishing.
Yep, absolutely.
No, they're stopping with their heroes though, actually, so it's not looking too bad. But they need to actually push in. They've got some guys just sat in the front gate with these imp shields. They need to push through and help the rest of the team. They're going to start getting wiped now. EG's going to get a good defense here with their cav. Some cav coming in for the attackers, but it's just way too late. Like this cav coming in now, just after the fight's already over.
Ooh, for the Watcher just retreating though, so that's really unfortunate. Oh, not gonna get punished. It's still coming back with there we go with the ISGs and the for the Watcher.
They can get control and focus on these heroes now. They might be able to get some control, but unit-wise, they took a really bad trade there. But at the same time, those 300 units of serfs, they don't know this, so that maybe they get quiet because of that. But they're actually ahead right now in units when you think about it.
Absolutely. So, but the T5 advantage is definitely gone.
Just,
so it's only
they're just
T4
losing
right
all
now.
these units now.
Yep. Ooh. ENDGEGNER just winning the hero game once again. This is the story of today. The hero game is going to ENDGEGNER on the point right now.
Yeah, I just think a big problem here is Apes pushed in with like 5-6 guys at the end instead of regrouping, so they just lost their advantage there right now. Still actually kind of ahead unit-wise when you look at it.
Yeah.
They're ahead on tier 5, ahead on tier 4, well, even on tier 4. And then it's just 300 serfs. So if they regroup, they can actually win this. They're probably thinking it's over already, but this is the problem. This is why you need to keep your mental strong. But they can actually win this with unit-wise, because it's just a hell of a lot of serfs for the defenders.
Yep, absolutely. And they got 5 minutes on the clock, so again, still time to get set up.
And some of them are down to their serfs now, so they'll start seeing these serfs on the score, but they've got to realise that these guys have a lot of serfs left. Because there's already 3 people playing serfs, I think, looking at this. Yep. 1, 2, 3, yeah. So they got to start seeing this and think, actually, unit-wise, we're not doing too badly.
Yep. But even then, these serfs can really annoy you when you like push too hard for those. Wasting cooldowns on the serfs will really punish Apes if they do it, because there's so many of them.
Yeah, I think the big thing we've got to look at here is they have some hussars. Defenders do have camels, though, and 40s. So these hussars are going to be the decider here whether they can get a good charge or not. Yep. But they've got a lot of imp shields, and it's going to be hard for the defenders to kill these imp shields with the units they've got left. You know, there's multiple healers for the defenders as well. Yep,
and also 2 units of javelins, so that will be able to, especially now, that's quite useful. Because any loss that the attackers take right now is going to be amplified because they are already so low on units. Yeah, I mean, defenders. I mean, look at the defenders setup: 2 healers, 1 serf, another serf. So that's 2 serfs, 3 serfs, 1 guy with no units. Like, they've got to be looking at the scoreboard and thinking, actually, we have a good shot here. We all have good units, apart from 1 person that's on serfs and 1 person that's out of units. You know, so they've got to be looking at this. They've still got half unit of shield maidens, and they've still got a lot of imp shields, which is going to be hard to deal with. The big thing for them is going to be their anti-cav. They've got 140 and 1 halberd sergeant, and they need to be thinking what they can deal with that. Yep. And 1. They got a pick now. Yep.
This is smart for them. They have the disadvantage in units. They need to take control of the supply, especially if they catch these 3 units here. The rest of the team needs to follow. Like, why are they not following?
Exactly.
Ike is on the resupply. Go in. Go with the heroes. You have complete advantage here. Kill this cav. You have catch this cav. This is 2 free units of cav here for you, which is great. And there's some jabs here now that are going to start suiciding as well if they pick this off. It's a really good pick from them. Alright, so I don't think they need to waste the hussar charge there, so they have to wait for that now. Right, so what they need to be careful of is not changing units on supply, because if you change units on supply here, your retreating unit will run onto the point.
Yeah, absolutely. Just heal them and that's it. Yeah. Alright, so 20 T4 units killed from the defenders, so Apes in a small lead now. And these javelins from Apes, they are not, or from ENDGEGNER, they're not able to refill right now, so a couple throws and they'll be out. They need to get a good hold on this choke. They need to sit in this choke, bait them in, use their advantage, and then go to point. They don't want to get too greedy here. They need to stay together and play as a group. You know, there's still a few longbows up on top. They're not really doing anything. I don't know why Fandam is suiciding for them. It's like 10 longbows. They're not going to really do much damage. But if they can play well as a team here and control this, they need to hold back behind them as well. They've got some 40s blocking the spawn, but they need someone else to help there because those 40s are by themselves now. Right, the fight is exploding. You'll see EG now just mobbing those 40s so all their cav can come through. Yeah, there we go with the cav charge. Not sure if that was needed though. Well, if they wipe these heroes well enough though, they've completely wiped the front. They need to regroup now and not get carried away. They need to group up on that point, brace everything, and then deal with this cav. Cav didn't get the best charge. It's doing okay. But they've got the hussars here still. Yeah, they need to get the good charge with these hussars. They need to back them off for now. But again, they're starting to lose the hero fight now. Because they just spread out too much. If they need to fight on that point now and focus heroes one by one. Apes were focused really hard to come back in. Apes were focused really hard to block that entrance, but the heroes, like you said in the back, were just getting destroyed from Apes. Now they need to turn. There's just no units from EG. Here comes Uwu Wokon though with the Hussars. This is a big mistake from EG. It's very pub siege. Like Nine or Nane, how you pronounce his name, has been sat AFK with his longbows the entire time. Like he should be down with his hero on the point. And this thing, like longbows can do a lot of work, but you have been sat with them AFK, so your team's fighting 14v15 the whole time. You know, exactly Apes are going to win this here because there's just nothing EG can do to come back in this. They just lost control too much. Maybe EG can stall long enough, but I just don't think they have the units anymore. Absolutely, and Nane also still running around, and he's actually still got camels sitting in his supply as well, so he needs to get the unit and just brace on the point. I mean, it's only a minute, so ENDGEGNER probably just want to delay it as long as they can, but I'm not sure if they can anymore. Just Ludao, John Swear, and Chimera standing on the point. A minute left. It's gonna be really rough. Sword in the back.
I mean,
not spotted yet. That's
you
just
can
me.
argue that he's got some hero kills there, you know, but he's only got 60 hero kills with those longbows,
Yep.
and he's been AFK with his hero the entire time. And this is a mistake that these weaker teams play. You know, the longbows are fine. You know, you can get a lot of work done with longbows, but if you sit with your hero with them the whole time, you're doing nothing.
Just Susno, last one on the point, or no,
Yeah,
more coming. They can actually, they might be able to do it.
Careful. They need to push into that breach and stop the next guys coming in.
Yep.
Which is what they are doing now. They're pushing into that gate and stopping the next people coming in, but they could potentially delay long enough.
20 seconds, it might be really close. They are stepping on a point. This Pike may be able to do it actually.
They've got 2 jewel blades though, so the attacker should
No,
be able
they
to
got
lock
it. They
this
got it.
down.
The defenders got it, I think. Short sword on point. Maul's getting on the point. The attackers are just not able to stop them. ENDGEGNER got it.
Wow.
Oh my goodness, this is a insane amount of throw there from Apes.
Yeah, it's just an end. You can see there's so many heroes there. They just weren't focusing on clearing those heroes.
Yep.
And again, it comes down to the heroes.
Woof.
Again.
All right. That was
What
surprising.
a close game.
Apes 1-0. Sorry, ENDGEGNER 1-0. Oh my goodness. Going to the second game, ENDGEGNER has a chance to win this match now. Apes, oof, that was rough from them.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they should have won that a lot cleaner than they did.
Absolutely.
And then they didn't end up winning. There was quite a few small mistakes there. Good comeback by EG. The fact they could delay it that long, I think that was a big part down to Susno being short sword there. He did delay for quite a long time to get his team back in. And again, just not the best hero. I think Apes at that point thought they'd won, so they just weren't focusing. They had about 10 heroes on point, and they were just watching people run around. There was like 2 or 3 heroes trying to kill the EG heroes.
Absolutely, and I feel like this is a game that ENDGEGNER are just going to use right now to gain momentum perhaps, and Apes, they're going to have to watch back and scratch their head and think, oh my god, we did so many things wrong that we could have done better to clean this game up.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But looking at the scores, you know, Apes had some good hero kills. You know, they've got Neko Maid Sama picking up a lot of hero kills there. But the units letting them down there. Obviously, they've only got 20 unit kills. Goulash picking up with a lot of unit kills there, 138. Vulcan, you got Dilke as well with a lot of unit kills, and hero kills as well on Vulcan as well. So good across the board there. And then you look over at EG, and it's just the spread is just very top ended there. So you've got Uncooked Banana, 177 unit kills.
That's insane.
Kia with 108. You know, Itachi with 122. The only one I can't see the rest of their name with 123. So many unit kills there. Nain does have 7 hero kills. Most of that though was from the heroes suicide and try and kill their range. They really didn't do a massive amount in that game, being sat up on top AFK with the longbows the whole time. You know, they could have had a much bigger impact and could have won a lot easier if they'd been playing with the team.
Absolutely, he did do a lot of damage, but again, that damage was mostly healed probably. All right, so we're gonna set up the second game. All right, so yeah, interesting one to say the least. So very curious to see what ENDGEGNER is gonna do on their attack. I do hope for Apes that they get to clean it up a little bit there, but definitely a messy fight. We can see that these are 2 teams that, yeah, are definitely fighting to get out of the bottom currently compared to the other teams that we've seen so far.
Just to put this in, I know I keep going on about this, but I just want to raise this point again. So, Nain had the lowest hero damage in their entire team.
Oh, they had? Okay.
As a scimitar.
Oh, yeah, that's not good. Yep.
Even Susno's short sword had more hero damage than Nain. So this is a big impact, guys. Like, you know, you're playing a light armor class, you can't be sat AFK with your range. Or any class can't be sat there, so people need to learn this, especially on these newer teams. If you're not used to it, you know, it's very. You see a lot in sieges, people who are playing longbows, standing with their longbows and just watching. Whereas if you can still play longbows, have them at the back of the map. You can target, you can angle them from the front. You know, you can aim them from the front while you're having impact with your hero. You know, if you're sat at the back, you're doing literally nothing.
Exactly.
And the rest of your team is fighting on the front. So you can just be a lot more impactful if you're playing front line. But still having those units is fine. But just play front line with them or with your hero.
Exactly. Yeah, like I said, and also, so for example, yeah. So and then the other thing was that Nain was one of the guys who also had another unit sitting in a supply. So just like putting the longbow up there, have them shoot, and then swap them out for a new unit. That way, you actually have quite a good rotation as well.
Yeah, especially with the supply being that close. And in the end, they ended up going onto point and dying, and their longbows retreated. So they didn't. I don't think they even used their camels. Which again is a whole unit that you're just not using.
Exactly. Alright, so let's focus on the next one now. So ENDGEGNER will be attacking. Based on what we saw just now, Apes quite messy. ENDGEGNER choosing a whole different approach to the meta as any other team. The Zicalian definitely a unit that have been really good on this map traditionally. So is that something that you feel might be in favor of ENDGEGNER now of finishing this match 2-0?
I'm not sure, honestly. I think Apes might take it from what we've seen.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I feel that ENDGEGNER are very slow. They're not really playing together very well. They're very split, and they're just getting picked off a lot. So I feel like Apes can take advantage of that if they play very aggressive on the defense.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think EG can still win, but I think if Apes play well, they should be able to beat this because of how EG have played that
Yeah, I
game.
get
They're
it.
very split, not really playing together as a team. Apes pushing well as a team, but then making mistakes, not covering flanks, getting a little bit too split after the fight started.
Exactly.
Even on that push on base point, they wiped that base setup.
They
And
absolutely
they all
wiped it.
split off,
Yeah.
and then they got cleared by some
And that's
cav.
the thing. So in the second to last fight, they actually cleaned the whole point and then blocked the entrance when they didn't have to, and they needed to kill the heroes. And then at the last fight, they weren't able to block the entrance fully.
Yeah, I think they just had mainly
Kinda
imp
messed
shields
up.
left at that point. I think they had about 5 units of imp shields, and so it was very hard to block that.
True. Yeah, it's kind of easy to jump over them. Yeah.
So I think if they play well, if both teams play well, I think Apes should win.
I get it. Yeah, makes sense.
If that makes sense.
Absolutely.
But it's very. Both teams have shown they're not very consistent.
Yeah.
They're making a lot of mistakes. So
Yeah, and I think it also comes down to that you can see that the attack requires a certain amount of coordination to play cleanly in order to close down the endpoint, because the resupply from defenders can be so much faster. So it's easier for.
And that was definitely one thing EG were lacking in that game was that just the team play, I guess, is the way of saying it. They weren't playing very well together. They were playing very split, and they were getting fought out quite a lot. And they had people, again, I don't want to keep going on about it, but standing at the back of range. So whether they're going to get impacted by that again on the attack, we'll have to wait and see.
Quite so. All right, so we're waiting a minute. We need to get an Onyx into spectator, and then waiting for one more player from Apes. I'm just gonna show you guys the lobby again, so you know what's going on. Kutchel monks, by the way, are regular, like the crescent monks, so don't worry, we're gonna remove those, but it's just so you have a visual idea of what the bands are. Alright, so switching ENDGEGNER to the attack and switching Apes to the defense. What did Amya say? Amya said attack tie? Well, it might be a defense tie, who knows. Van Amya looked good at some moments, but also missed some.
I think went
plays,
a bit too hard trying to kill those longbows because they weren't having much impact. Those longbows were there the entire game. They killed 60 units. I don't think I think some of that was the hero as well, and not even the longbows.
Yeah.
So did he need to keep suiciding to go and kill those? Probably not. Would he have been better on the point, getting hero kills instead? Because it was the second fight he died to those longbows again, instead of being on point. So them being on the point for the second fight, would that have swung it enough for them to win? Because at that point those longbows only had half a unit left. Was there any point in him suiciding for it?
Quite so. Alright, let's see, do we have everyone in here? Looks like we do. Alright, so just waiting for one more spectator, and then we're gonna get this one going. Last game of the day. We've had some really good matches, I think. I actually believe that this map has entertained me more than I expected. Every single match has been, every single game has been different places to defend or attack, and of course different units most of the time because of the bans, but also different locations to defend as well.
Yeah, I think it's been a lot more back and forth than people expected it to be. I think people expected a lot more cleaner games, if that makes sense, where they've been very, very heavy brawling games.
Yep.
But again, that's come down to the bans. A lot of specialists being banned means you do have a lot more brawls on the front line.
Absolutely. Alright, looks like we got our last guy in here. Now I need to find him and move him. No. Onyx. Who is it? Oh, yeah, there we go. Onyx. There we go. Alright, we're ready. Here we go. Last game of the day. Let's go. ENDGEGNER in the lead right now, unexpectedly perhaps, but the Apes are looking for revenge. They need to be aggressive, but also clean. But maybe more aggressive on the defense than clean. Oh, I actually still banned Kutchel monks, but I think we'll be fine. I don't think we need a remake for that one.
The old arty bug, right? Just arty bug, need to restart.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, how many Cocos do they play now
5.
in the attack?
I think this time you might be right.
One more? Go on, one
Oh,
more.
come on, give us one, give us one.
But now I don't understand this. They're playing a hell of a lot more golden now for the attack.
Yep, absolutely, like tons of shield maintenance. Maybe they decided that that's what they needed, but... Still the Palace Guard. Got 3 of those. 4 actually. So maybe they have tested them and they are really strong. It might very well be, but... Surprising
We
to
didn't
see.
see it much in the other teams in Feudal, did we?
On the side of Apes, by the way, lots of shields and Fortebraccio. I don't see any of the... of course, the monks are banned, by the way, but yeah. Yeah.
Not really any cav. If you look at the defender's side, they've got 5 cav, maybe?
3, 4, 5.
Not even
yeah,
that.
not
3
that much. Yeah.
And a couple of camels. 4 cav and a couple of camels. But then not much... Well, actually, no, decent amount of dagger axes for attackers, so... But there are a lot of 40s for the defenders, so I don't see that cav being very useful, but we'll see. They've had some... One thing I will say from EG that was good last game, they had some good cav charges after the fight already started to help clear. So they were good at timing that in.
Yeah, the cav charges were really good, so those players were really stepping up big time. I think that saved the match on many occasions. 1 longbow on both sides, by the way, so we will be seeing those.
Not many mauls. I think it was only 5 for each side, which is quite a lot lower than most of the teams.
Yeah. Definitely below the average of more than half of all the weapons are maul. Alright, here we go. Kamira starting on his favorite unit, which is apparently Alchemist.
I mean, I do like the unit, has a lot of uses. They're running back to base straight away, so no AB defense. Are they going to do anything on the wall, though? Be interesting to see if they pull anything off here. That was a...
Yeah, that trap was...
interesting trap there. Looks
Got
like they misclicked. They're trapping the front one, but they need to trap the middle one. You see where that pike's on now, because if you trap that one, then it will kill the other 2. But they didn't, so they've actually lost that siege wall. If they're quick, they could kill that tower, but I don't think they're going to. They're just going to try and shoot units instead. Oh yeah, because the 2 muskets on longbow, there's no way they can keep that siege up for long enough. They didn't kill the Scorpio either, but they're not defending it anyway, it looks like, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, so not even delaying the battering ram, so it looks like Apes are just really going to focus hard on the final point. Classic Kurak
Can they be
style.
aggressive enough to be able to punish EG? Because if they play super aggressive and EG can't react quick enough to it, as we saw from the first game, then they could potentially hold it.
Absolutely, and I think if we can say anything about Apes, it is that they are aggressive. They want to play aggressive. They want to show that they are aggressive. So, ENDGEGNER...
I think now they just need to get better coordination with their aggressiveness. So they've got the hard part is the aggressiveness. Honestly, like it's easy to
just go
coordinate
in
an aggressive team than to make a coordinated team aggressive.
Exactly.
If that makes sense. So they've got that aggressive part down, which is good. Now they just need to get better coordination. You know, losing a few heroes here is not the way to do it. This maul's going to get picked off now at the front.
Yeah, definitely a bit too aggressive there, or just out of position. Maybe it has nothing to do with aggressive. But that's definitely the other thing. So you can rush to your death and call it aggressive, but that might just be stupid.
Yeah, I mean they didn't really do anything.
Yeah, exactly.
If they
nothing
killed
to
like
gain
Cobras or something, then it's kind of useful. But they just died for free.
Exactly.
Just getting caught out, and it could be that they weren't paying attention, they weren't looking, or they, you know, I don't know. I didn't see how they got caught. Really, they were just surrounded by enemies.
Yeah,
so for me, they probably just weren't paying attention. They were looking to one side of the map and got flanked from the other.
Yeah, it was just someone climbing up the stairs too late. Alright, so what surprises me here is that Apes had all the time in the world to set up, but they're still bringing their units. But I guess just taking their sweet time to set up, of course. Don't need to expect that ENDGEGNER are already rushing in or something.
Yeah, they've still got serfs out at the moment, which is a little bit strange.
Actually, almost all of units are already out on the final point, which is...
Yeah, they still have Fanda Amir playing serfs at the moment. I'm guessing he's got Cav waiting as his next... Yeah, so he's probably going to swap to Cav and come back. I know he's just swapped to Cocos now.
Yep. Yeah, Wu Wokon was one of the guys from Apes that played really well with the Cav, so looking forward to seeing his double Cav now.
Okay, so EG has got all of their Cocos out right now. They literally have 5 Cocos and a longbow out right now. So they are going for the poke fight. So if Apes just push and win this fight, the game's over.
Yeah, but if Apes don't push and ENDGEGNER get to throw 5 Sicilian on top of them...
I guess it's the plan, because they're taking a lot of Palace Guards as well, so I guess their plan is just to front line with the Palace Guards. When they brace, it's very hard to push through.
They're even bringing the longbow as well.
Yeah. But 5 Cocos is,
and
a longbow for the push is very excessive.
Yeah, it is very excessive.
Like, you've got to be sat here as Apes thinking, pressing tab and going,
Yeah, but just
let's just push into this.
exactly. But just look like the way that Apes need to push in right now is from one direction because they do not have anything on the flank. So that's not a good position, I think,
And
to push into.
They got a cav out at the moment, but it's not been very useful.
Yep.
They do have the longbows punishing. Like, these longbows that can do a good job here because you can't really treb this unless you walk all the way around the side. And they can shoot over the top into that top bit. So if they can pick off some of the Cocos here, this is going to be huge.
Yep.
Because they've got to be sat here thinking, like, they can press tab and see the units here and think, Jesus, how many Cocos they have out right now.
Already lost 2 Zicalians as well, so...
Yeah. And they can't really push point at this. They can try and farm, but if I'm Apes here, I just pull back behind the point. Because if they try and commit to point, then you
which
can
they are
push
doing
them
right now. Yeah, exactly right.
Because again, they only have 140 and 1 halberd. Like, they have 0 anti-cav here. So I think their whole goal is to try and poke down with the Cocos. But if you just sit further back like this, it just could be a good treb. They're not really paying. Oh, they're paying attention. There we go. This is what I mean. Like, so this is what I talked about in one of the earlier games. If you have units like that that can get picked off by a treb, you have to have someone watching the treb because it takes so long to get there from when it's fired. You have plenty of time to move.
Yeah, and I feel like ENDGEGNER needs to make some more plays. Like they need to capture the back supply. Just send someone there. Just force Apes to actually try and get out of position because
they're gonna start swapping. Oh, they're getting a pick on the Cocos here. Going to supply through heroes, 3 heroes grabbing them. So that's 1 Coco down.
That's a good aggressive player. Yeah. Once again, this is what happened to ENDGEGNER last week as well against No Beaches.
Yeah.
Now
The good thing that EG did do though is they got a longbow player who actually pushed up and killed all of the longbows for the defenders. They've got about 5 left,
nice.
I think. So that was a good pick off because they can't get punished from that anymore. They also use their longbows to deal with it.
Right. They killed Wukong as well. He was sitting on the calf. Again, Apes pushing really
He was
aggressive
one of
into
the
the
ones that pushed
Mere
those
Millions.
Cocos. So that was a good pick on those Cocos though.
Yeah, they're also getting in the unit of Mere Millions right now.
They get their suicide for the Cocos as well. Look at that. There's another unit of Cocos down. Well, half of them.
That's good, that's good. Yeah, so Apes already getting some small advantages there. Nice pickup though, but how much can ENDGEGNER gain back from killing 2 guys?
They're going to struggle to push though because they don't have the units to push and take the point. They have 140 that's still not there yet. They've got a halberd unit and then it's all just melees.
Yep.
Just 1 cav will completely wipe them. And Apes doing the smart thing, like I said, they're just sat at the back waiting for them to push. They don't have to push into them here.
Yeah, exactly right. They are bringing another Fortebraccio out. There's also still Camel sitting on supply point for ENDGEGNER, so slowly starting to bring the anti-cav, but ENDGEGNER definitely want to like bring down
they have the
Apes
front
with
line
the range.
DPS to win there as well.
Apes just staying in his position behind the building there, behind the cap point.
Just being smart and just sitting out of their range. Right, they're going to try an actual base push now, which could work. We'll see how they pull it off. Are Apes going to rotate to try and deal with it, or are they going to sit there and wait for them to come push base? Because again, one strat you can do is just sit on the base and wait for them.
Yep.
Like, you don't have to push into them and bait into the trebs, just wait on base. We saw Beaches do that against Odin's, where they just sat on the far side of base and just waited for them to push in and then dealt with it.
Switch from ENDGEGNER though, bringing out double cav, triple cav right now.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to try and force something on the point and try and get the cav flank, but there is a lot of anti-cav for the defenders right now.
Yeah. ENDGEGNER starting to block the supply as well with the ISG, so that's where...
Yeah, these imp shields, and if they're suiciding unit 40s here, it's not great for them, because then the defenders have the advantage with cav.
Oh, but Apes again pushing up as well.
On the supply, though. EG just sending 2 units to their death on this supply. Like, where's the rest of the team? Why aren't they going with the Cocos? They can easily farm these camels and imp shields with this. But instead they're just letting them die on the resupply. Now they're going for it, but they've already lost so many units there. Yeah,
and Apes also killed the Halb Sergeant. They were protecting the back from ENDGEGNER, so another unit down.
Yeah, the Halb Sergeant's now retreating onto point. What's left of them. But again, it's just weird trades by EG here. Like, you can see they're going for the supply anyway. Why did they send 2 guys in to do a side by themselves before they pushed?
Maybe they were hoping for more Apes to come and then they could punish, but it doesn't look like it. And now they are sitting there with all these Sicalian, I think, still. And they can at least refill. Oh, it's only one, so that's good.
Yeah, these Claymores need to be careful on base. They are invulnerable when they're in base, though, so it's not too bad. But it's not really the best flanking unit.
Pretty sure
Apes being aggressive,
Apes
pushing
are very
out front,
aggressive
dealing
right
with
now.
that cav, though. Because they're just like, well, if you're just going to sit there and wait, we'll just push out and do the job ourselves. Let's see.
Yeah, so
I'm
Apes...
not sure I agree with EG here with pushing up longbows onto the wall, but they can do some poke from there, I guess. No, they're actually, the longbow player himself is doing a good job. He's picking off all the Cocos from Apes, actually, so that's a really good play by him.
Oh, yep, nice, and he continues to do so. Only 3 left, yep. Those longbow player really don't work right now in this game for EG.
Kia, he had a lot of, he was one of the top units kills last game as well, so he's doing a good job. He basically cleared all the Cocos, there's 2 left there about to die. But Apes, again, being aggressive, they're going to push up and clear these longbows now, or try to. Kalaskar's just braced into nothing, so that's wasted that. If Apes just wait now, then they can go in afterwards. Or they can just jump over the top, I guess that works.
EG meanwhile winning the fight at the back though, so like they're finally engaging and fighting there. I don't even think Spencer had to fight there with Wukong, but they definitely decided to do so.
Yeah, they're just deciding to take the fight to them, which I think is good. You know, they're not scared to fight. They are going to get a bit overrun now though, so the rest of Apes either need to go and help, or they need to stop fighting them. Because they're just getting a bit overrun now.
Yep. So I really liked Apes' small aggressive fights there. A couple of good skirmishes, but now they're losing, I think, on a couple fronts as well. So slightly losing the advantage they had. Although
yeah,
Apes
I mean,
still have more
they're not
T5
trading
still.
too badly.
Yeah, Apes still have more T5s right now.
And they're even on tier 4s.
Yeah.
So it's not that bad, and they're just wasting a lot of time. They're not letting EG set up, which is good. And one thing you've got to look at as well, which I think EG have made the mistake a couple of times, is they've changed units on that supply, and then their units retreat into the point. So Apes are farming them there. So let's see what they can do, because obviously they've got the advantage from the Cocos there, so Apes need to be careful pushing into this. But they are pushing from behind actually.
Oh yeah, assassins on the supply, that's really good.
Just wiped those Cocos, that was really good play by them there. They waited for the perfect moment, baited them at the front and wiped it. So if they fight now, Apes need to fully turn on this base fight and wipe this setup. Because the Shashins need to try and retreat now, because that Treb's going to be painful.
Ooh, another nice decision I think there. How do they do against for the Watcher though? Not that hot.
A lot of cav coming in the front now for EG, but there's 40s there. I mean, Apes are just farming a lot of the heroes here. Like, they're winning this hero fight at the moment.
Absolutely, yep.
But backside still doesn't look that good.
Base clean once again, I mean, I think you can hold on to that supply really hard. But
I was actually looking, like, the Apes are kind of winning. So they're kind of winning on the trades at the moment. They're getting ahead on tier 4s, getting ahead on tier 5s. It just doesn't look that good because EG have the supply, so they're getting multiple units out.
Exactly.
The Apes playing aggressive, they're getting some really good defenses here. And what they're doing quite well as well is they're not afraid to die to then respawn when units are coming from behind. And decent Coco position for them now, which can't be damaged because they're in spawn.
What just really feels kind of awkward is that EG have this back supply. They probably want to. Nice Ticalians there, although they cannot resupply anymore. So I'm not sure if it's too effective to throw them on the supply there.
Maybe 2 more throws, but if they can kill a lot of units here, it's worth it, honestly. Especially if they kill these camels, because that's one of their only anti-cav that's left. They have 140, 1 camel. So if they're killing these camels on supply now, then they can get this cav in they've got on base, these dagger axes, to get through.
Yeah,
and
so
again, look, so EG's got some units again, just suiciding on towards the base, some more cav going through.
oh yeah, the cav were just retreating as well, so not even using them.
Doing a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is what I was saying. So when you change,
And right now they should be using a trebuchet on this location. Like, it's easy trap right here. Where is it?
Yeah, they've still got
it's too late.
12 left. 11 now, but yeah.
They've not been using the trebuchets to their effect so far.
I mean, Apes have to see this now, but again, Treb's not the best on this position anyway. Only like 1 or 2 will hit, and in fact, none really hit. Kind of one. But Apes are in a really good position here, especially got this cav flanking as well. They got cav coming from the back at the same time. They can just force this fight, clear these heroes, focus them down one by one. Got some healers inting for EG on the front that just suicided in for no reason. Just losing all these heroes. It just kind of feels like it's over already, but
nice trap.
units are still fairly even. Maybe EG can start killing heroes, but they just lost so many heroes there. It's gonna be difficult to come back from that. Yeah, it's just the tier 5s now. It's just massive advantage, like 200 and something for Apes and 60 for EG. You know, and then even on tier 4s.
It's really messy.
I think actually taking this supply worked against EG. They lost a lot of units just because they changed one supply and they retreated into the enemy, and they're just suiciding more and more units. If they'd gone from the front instead, would they have suicided this many units in? Apes being maybe a little bit too aggressive on the front now. They've dropped control of the back, so they're letting EG get through. Can they collapse back on this? They've got imp shields, they've got a few shield mains there. They should be able to get control again.
But I mean, and they're ENDGEGNER already fighting 11 versus 15, and now there's also more guys just that need to get in. So it's Apes has tons of time here to just wipe out all of these units and heroes.
Yeah, they are killing the heroes though. But now I think EG's going to get wiped here. Can this cav from EG coming from the front do anything? That's the question. Because the 40s from Apes are in the tunnel, they're not on point.
Ooh, nice wipe here.
This trip's going to be good as well. This could be good. The EG might take this here. They're killing a lot of units here.
Absolutely.
It's going to depend on what Apes can do. Can they go back and grab more units, or are they going to just suicide here? Because they're losing a few heroes themselves now. Can they pick up any heroes, or are they just going to keep suiciding in that gate? Ooh, Cataphract's out on the resupply. This could be huge. There's 1 anti-cav for EG, which is in the gate. Not even on the front.
Here it comes, here it comes. There's not that many units as well. Oh, for the watcher there, but they're not braced.
They're not
destroyed.
braced,
Yeah,
especially
that's
now
destroyed.
that they got changed. You can press 1 to instantly brace. That was a really bad play by those 40s. Because in the last patch, you can instantly brace your units, and he did not instantly brace. He sat there and watched the enemy charge through.
Yep, and there's the ASGs as well from Alpha. Oh, here comes another Kefto.
That's a lot of heroes just wiped from EG there, though.
Yep, that's a lot.
These dagger axes could do some work, but there's a couple of 40s there. They braced. Doesn't look like it.
Here comes another one, though. I mean, it's really hanging in the balance here. It might be just as messy as the first game, or even messier.
Messy fight.
Yep.
But I feel like Apes are just better at killing the heroes right now. Let's see if they can keep this pressure up, because they don't have that many units left on point. But they do still have the supply. Got a couple. It's just imp shields coming in now, and I don't know if that's going to be good enough to be able to hold against EG. But it looks like EG's backing off.
Yep.
They lost too many heroes, so they're backing off and trying to regroup.
EG doesn't have any anti-cav out right now, but I'm not sure if there's any cav left.
Yeah, so I mean, units look even, but EG does have 100 more serfs and 0 tier 5. Whereas Apes do have some tier 5s left. They got some Katas here and some other units. Are Apes going to be aggressive and push out and get wiped, or are they going to sit and wait?
I feel like that would be a mistake.
It looks like they're being aggressive.
Yeah, I feel.
I don't know if this is the right call.
Yeah, exactly. I'm thinking this is a mistake because there's Alchemists backing those heavy frontline units up, so they're healing a lot.
It's
of
only
this.
3 or 4 of them committing as well. The rest are watching. You've got Fandamia's Medaeus around the corner watching. These 40s watching. They just suicided in 3 units there.
And this also allows ENDGEGNER to actually group because they're just really slowly pushing. So everyone in the back gets to freely
catch up. Yeah, but this cav
there.
from Neko Maid Sama could be insane here because there is a 0 anti-cav for the attackers right now. If they can get a good charge here, which they're going for, they're going for it. Is it good enough? I don't think it was good enough. Well, it was a decent charge, but I don't know if it was impactful enough.
And ENDGEGNER can't really get through though. It looks like they are just hanging back a little bit.
Yeah, they are holding that choke. Again, they just don't have enough units. Those Palace Guards just don't seem like they're dealing enough damage.
These Modal from
sit there and tank,
Family Enemy are really doing work there at frontline, I think.
Yeah. I mean, again, EG got a bit carried away and pushed in before their 40s were there. Because those 40s are starting to clear up a bit now, but it's a bit too late.
And now it's done, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the units here, and they have 100. They have 100 more serfs still, so it's just they're already even, but then a quarter of their setup is serfs right now. But if they can win this fight, they can maybe do it. But can they win this fight? I don't think they can.
They do have
more reinforcements coming in
there.
for the defenders. Another unit of 40s coming in. No, I feel like this is over now. Dagger axes just go. 40s aren't braced actually. Dagger axes maybe do something. No, because the hero didn't run through. He was just in the fight.
Absolutely. Name with the longbow out right now as well.
Jolan's Fevrier did some decent damage there, but it's just too many people dead.
Yeah, only 6 alive right now. The longbows are getting killed as well on the back, I think. Or actually saved. Yeah, Aiki has been really aggressive for Apes. He's been the one on the front line, even on the attack as well. This was incredibly messy, not gonna lie.
It was very messy. I just feel like taking that supply at the back was EG's downfall.
Yep.
They lost so many units that were retreating into the point, and they just kept suiciding units in one by one. If they just pushed from the front like they did at the end there, if they just done that from the start, would that have been better for them? You know, because it forces them to play as a team. Whereas when they're at the back like that,
let's focus on the last minute though, because EG definitely feel like they can still win the game. I mean, why not? They also won it in the last second at the game before. Woodcutter's charging in there at the HGs here.
Yeah, I just feel like the hero advantage is too big and the unit advantage is too big. But we'll see. Maybe they can pull something out.
Clearly, EG believes they still can. So let's go.
Longbow standing outside the front and watching, which is always useful.
You need to get in there right now. Yeah, it's very unlikely that they're gonna clean this in 10 seconds. So this is definitely Apes' win right there. They get to clean up points. Who's now still standing on the point though, just like Chimera. Their team captains are always showing where they need to be, but team just not ready yet. Alright, this is a finished Watchman fight by now. I like it. Will this be a good trap? The trap or not the trap? Here it comes, flying in. Nice one. Needed that a couple minutes earlier perhaps. 10 seconds left, this is it. Alright. Last game of the day. A bit messy. But it does end up in a 1-1. Apes taking the game here on the defense. So both teams winning the defense.
I think Apes probably very disappointed they didn't win their attack.
Absolutely.
With played out. But yeah, overall, again, it just shows hero kills. I mean, look at the difference on that.
Yeah, just look how strong Apes are. Like Spencer getting the 174 unit kills. Apes are from guys that are really performing today.
Yeah, and again, Neko made Sama doing a good performance again. Not as many hero kills this time, but the unit kills to back it up. Ice Eagle with the 140 units. Alpha Nitrat, 6 hero kills, 140 unit kills. You know, there's a lot of stuff there, but it's just the hero kills in general is just so different. 45 to 25, and it just shows it there. And you look at EG's side, they've got Xandar with the good unit kills there, 127. We've got Zarthras with 110, really good play there. Of course, Susno following up from the bottom, as captains always do. Got to lead from the bottom right, got to support your team when you're back. But then hero kills, you know, really just low hero kills. Uncooked Bananas with 4, a couple of 3s, and that's it.
Yep.
And just compare that to the other side where it's like 6, 5, 5, 5, 5, 4, 4. You know, there's just so many more hero kills there.
Yep, absolutely.
I think both teams show some promising moments. Like Apes had some really good pushes in there, really good aggressive pushes, but just a lot of mistakes from them, and that just shows them they're a new team. You know, they're getting into their rhythm. They're trying to find their sort of fit, but they've got some really good players there. They've got some really good plays that they go through. You can see from their scores. You know, they can do it when they want to, but just a lot of mistakes. And with EG, just feels again just a lot of mistakes there. They just seem very relaxed. They seem very slow to rotate things. Very very reactive rather than being proactive. And a lot of the time in these fights, you have to be proactive. You want to take the fight to the enemy. You want to take the fight where you have the advantage. It just felt a lot of time they were just letting the enemy push into them, then trying to deal with it from there.
Yep, absolutely right. Yeah, all right. So that's our last game of the day. Let's take a look at the standings right now, because we had a lot of good games actually. And next round, I think, is going to be even more excited. Remember, after next week, we're gonna have a 1-week break because of Easter. So next week is gonna be the last match before we get another one in 3 weeks. So always good to have a small break there. But let's take a look at the standings first. So I'm gonna bring them up on the screen. There you go. Alright, so round 2 happened. I'm just going to spoil all the results to you, even if you haven't watched it, so close your eyes for a little bit. Why So Serious losing the game against Yeah Buddy. Yeah Buddy very convincingly back in the action. Pondegard once again tying a match against Argonautas. Argonautas not going to be unhappy about it, I think. Both teams...
Yeah, definitely a strong performance from Argonautas in that.
I think both teams will be happy with the result in the end of the day. No Beaches winning against Owners Legion, definitely showing that they are one of the strongest teams. We talked to Amya. He's been happy again with the 9 hero kill game today. We'll see what more he can bring. Next week is going to be Yabi against No Beaches, by the way. That might very well be, like Anya said, one of the most important matches in this season for...
Definitely, I think that will decide.
Yeah.
If No Beaches win that 2-0, then they win the season, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, they should be. I mean, they still need to finish out the season cleanly, right? I mean, we see teams like Argonautas and Pondegard might very well be able to get a game off of them. But
yeah,
it would be surprising.
To that. Especially with some of the maps that are coming in the future.
Exactly.
Obviously, we've got Hidden City is a difficult one. Kurak again, then White Elk is also a very coin flippy map as well. So there's definitely a chance for teams to take some wins off them. But it being White Elk fought next week against Yeah Buddy, that's going to be some strong matchups there. It's normally quite a very cav heavy map, and obviously Yeah Buddy has the Turkish players in there. As we always say, Turkish cav, Turkish Hussars are very strong. Especially, I'm pretty sure Barbar's in their team, isn't he?
Absolutely.
He has some of the best Hussars in the game. So that's going to be a tough one. It's going to be a tough one next week for them, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's already first match of next week, so that'll be exciting. And then we have Odin's Legion versus Apes. So Odin's get the chance to prove once again that they deserve to be in the top 3. And Argonautas and ENDGEGNER. Argonautas looking to get another win. And if Argonautas win, they can still compete for first place. I mean, of course, we don't expect them to win against teams like No Beaches or Yeah Buddy, but if they actually win against ENDGEGNER, suddenly they are on the rise to that top 3 finish, so who knows. And then Pondegard against Why So Serious. Pondegard needs to win that game if they want to break free from the tie result so far and actually get in that top spot as well. So if we take a look at the standings then right now, 2 games played only, remember, so No Beaches sitting at the top, where we expected them with 4 points, the only team to be undefeated in all matches. Yeah Buddy following them up together with Argonautas sitting on 3 points, Odin's Legion sitting on 2 points, together with Pondegard also sitting on 2 points but with 2 ties. And then Apes and ENDGEGNER both having 1 point from today. Why So Serious still looking for a game win in this season. So we can see now kind of like 5 teams fighting for those top places, and they could all still be making it to like top 2, top 1. Although Odin's losing to No Beaches, definitely a bit more on the back foot since the other 3 teams still need to play against each other. But
I think top 4 is going to be very interesting this season. You know, there's a lot of opportunities. I mean, any team can finish top 4 really at this point.
Absolutely, and also the other exciting thing is that three teams will be demoting this season. because we have so many new teams, and three teams from Rustic Division will be promoting to the Feudal Division. So currently, like Apes and ENDGEGNER, if they can find any points, then suddenly they can also get into that top 5 and really start contesting for a spot in Feudal Division. So lots on the line there. Yep. All right, I think that's it for now. Was good to have you back here, Temple Shuttle, once again. Looking forward to another round on next week. Yeah. All right, let's see. Anything else that you wanna touch on before we close it down?
I mean, we could talk about Rustic a little bit before we go.
Yeah, sure, we could. Yeah, for sure. Let's just bring those up as well. I haven't put the results in, by the way, so we could do that.
Because there are some exciting matches next week.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's true. Right. Let's go over them. Let me just get the results as well then. So we just put them in there while we go. So of course you guys won against Malakas, so we'll give you that.
Close games there, but yeah, it was good fun.
All right, that's good.
Good fun games.
Looking forward to watching them then. We got the name that only you can pronounce. You can say it, and they won.
Let me find it again so I can read it. Give me 1 second. It's in predictions, isn't it? So I can find it there.
Yeah, exactly.
Llanfair Pulgwingil go Gerech win Drobel Chanticilio go go go.
Winning against Golems Live 2-0. Looking forward to watching that match. I'm very curious to see if the Spanish caster was able to pronounce it correctly, or the English one, Bluntcast. We'll see. Or Vanblade also goes a chance. Polish can be weird sometimes as well.
I would like to hear their team captain try and pronounce it.
Oh yeah, true, yeah. I tried to bait him into it in the interview, but didn't take it. Oh, this one is surprising for me, by the way. Body Odor versus Brothers Faction winning 2-0. Body Odor winning the match, so that's a new team. Brothers Faction is more of an experienced team, actually, with some of their players.
Yeah, Body Odor is a lot of Blood Oath players, I believe, which remain game. But yeah, new team, obviously showing some promising stuff there if they can take a 2-0 win, so that's good.
Yep, absolutely. And then nice try winning their match against Warbus from NA. War Burns called here, and we'll see. So nice try picking up the win there. Nice try as a team from E1 that's definitely made a claim to go for that first spot this season. So they needed that win after tying against Brothers Faction the week before.
Definitely. I mean, next week is going to be an interesting one, right? Because we've got my team, No Screams 3 win against Stanfair. I can't be bothered to say the rest of it. Stanfair, let's call them that. So that's going to be an interesting one because obviously both teams are 2-0 at the moment. Well, 4-0, sorry. Yeah,
exactly. So you are 2-0 and Longfair has had a week off.
Didn't play for the first
exactly.
So, yeah.
But if they win against you guys, then they are headed for a good result. Yeah.
I think that's going to be one of the matches to look out for, definitely, because from looking at it so far, obviously I don't want to be too cocky, but from looking at it so far, it's going to be those two teams are the top two teams of this group at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially now that Golems Live has lost against Llanfair, which means that Llanfair is still in the race for those top 2 places together with you guys. Unless Primes or Primes especially, because they had a bye this week. New team as well, right? So the first round may be a bit shaky, but if they are able to win out the rest of the remaining rounds, then they could also be contesting for top 2.
Yeah, I mean they showed a decent performance last week. It wasn't like they lost really badly. They were still fairly close games, so they could definitely pull something out here. Especially Malakas, again, some close games today, but they have lost now 2 rounds in a row. So if Primes can take that off them as well, that puts Primes in a good position in the standings.
Yeah, exactly. So basically next week very interesting, like you said, because first of all, you got No Screams 3 win against Llanfair for currently first place, but then also the Primes and Malakas to see if any of those 2 teams can make it for the fight in
and
in
then
second
even
place.
In Group B is still exciting next week as well. So you've got Body Odor against Warbus. So both have lost 1 round each. Warbus obviously had a free on the first one, so if Warbus can win, that puts them ahead of Body Odor. If Body Odor wins and they've got a free run against them, then going forwards, you've got nice TBD versus Brothers Faction. Brothers Faction tied 1 game and lost 1 game, and TBD has won 1 game and then had a free bye. So again, that could decide this league quite
absolutely.
well.
And that's the thing with 5 teams as well. 5 teams means that any win or any point you get is just going to be very important, because you want to be in the top 2 place to advance to the final bracket in the end. So currently going through the standings for Group B, nice try in the lead with 3 points right now, a tie and a win. Then TBD is following them, and like you said, they could pick up a win next week, bringing them to first place. Body Odor as well with 2 points, and then Brothers Faction currently sitting in 1 point, and Warbus standing at the bottom but only having played 1 match so far. So yeah, that's Rustic Division. Rustic Division very interesting. I mean, can't stress
Yeah, I
it
think
enough. With so
Group
many
B
new
is
teams.
very-
So yeah.
Yeah, Group B is very open, I think, at the moment. I think Group A looks more sort of sold. I think next week we'll decide it, depending on what happens with No Scrims and Flanfair, but it looks more decided, sort of No Scrims, Flanfair at the top, Golems sort of next in line, and Primes and Malakas underneath that, is what it looks like. It's how it's going to run at the moment from the game so far.
Yeah.
Whereas obviously the Group B, it's very open there. You know, there's a few ties, a handful of wins, a couple of losses, you know, so that it seems a lot more open, a lot more... up to whoever wants it really can take it, basically. Each team has a chance to take that group.
Yeah, absolutely. Meanwhile, getting rated by Canadian Cowboy, who streamed and casted all of the Rustic Division matches in English. Thank you. Warbus versus Nice Try was nuts, he said, so definitely gonna watch the back. 13 Jeffs. That's something. 13
That does sound
Jeffs.
like a fun one.
Yeah, that's more than 6 Acalian, so still counting. All right. So we gotta like gather our balls for next week on White Oak Fort. Are you expecting any new unit that we like this week? I think was what was this week? This week was more of Dagger Axe Lances, I think. Last week was kind of Longbow.
I'm imagining a lot of Cav.
A lot of Cav. All right, I'll take Cav any time of the day.
Yeah, it's both playing White Oak next week, aren't they? Yeah. So yeah, I imagine a lot of Cav next week, honestly, in White Oak. Maybe not, because obviously with Fortis being buffed, maybe teams will play a lot more melee heavy with the flame setup. But White Oak historically has been a very Cav heavy map, so I'm just imagining it's going to be the same again.
Absolutely. Slightly changed, of course, the map compared to last season, so we'll see if that makes any big difference. But we'll find out next week. All right.
A lot of trees everywhere that block your vision for everything.
Yeah, kind of weird, but yeah, they are there, so we'll see.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Snapshot. We'll see each other again next week at the very least.
Yeah.
Everyone, I'm gonna spam the chat just to make sure you got all the links to like the YouTube and the Discords and whatnot. If you want to join the league for next season, or if you want to join any team this season, make sure to go to looking for team or team registration on the Discord
teams
channel.
will be changing members throughout the season, so
exactly.
It's over now. You have no chance.
Yep, there's lots of teams that want to pick up players, especially if you're playing Musket. Musket is a high priority class right now, so practice it. Yeah, so that's it for us today, I think. Thanks all for viewing, playing, and whatnot, and then we'll see you again next week. Have fun.
Yeah, guys.
Alright, there we go. We got the trailer running, end screen. We're done. Nice, I like it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that felt pretty bad. Yeah, that felt pretty bad, I'm not gonna lie there. Yeah, exactly, but it just didn't work really. You know.